Hey guys, so this video is about something that since 2015, when same-sex marriage was legally passed in the United States, I've been asked multiple times by many of my friends, and that's, do you see yourself getting married? Is that in your plans? Is that one of your goals? I am going to get into the answer. Give me a like while the intro plays.
I told you this was gonna be tough, but
So I want to begin this by saying that as a veteran of the United States military, it was always important for me, maybe I could be a representative to the rest of the nation and to say that I am American. I do love my country, and I think that every single one of us should be treated equally. And this pursuit of happiness applies to each and every one of us. And so I wanted to be that representative, that introduction to many folks of what someone who was gay, what we look like and who we actually are. So gay marriage was a huge component to that philosophy of mine. I've always been a proponent for gay marriage. I fight for it. I educate others on why it's important for our community that we are able to get married. Now here's the thing though, in saying that was never my dream. Like as a little kid, you know, many of us, we kind of have this image in our heads as we're growing up. I really didn't, and even like if I were to make a revised one with my new life and maybe it looks something like this, I didn't have that either.
last minute edit, I just want to be clear in saying that while I'm saying this wasn't my dream for me, I'm not neglecting the fact that at one point I thought about maybe I could have this white picket fence house fantasy to satisfy others, but it was never really my dream.
I think I've mentioned this before, but my older sister, she was placed in foster care, and so she had been removed from the family for many years. Once she became an adult, she kind of came back into our lives, and so I remember one time she took me to visit a friend of hers. Now this friend, beautiful African goddess, but from France. We went to her studio. Now the reason why I love my apartment now so much, and I'll share a pic here, but that brick wall that you see there, her apartment was this small studio that had a similar brick wall, and it had like a Murphy bed, again, super tiny. But for me, when I walked into this space and looked around, and she was so open with herself that you know, she was bisexual but kind of leaned more towards females. That moment actually changed my world. It rocked my world, because I remember thinking, this is what it's like to be free. You know, like she had all these photos of places that she'd visited all over the world, and the fact that she had her own space and she was living her life authentically. And part of that was that she, she talked about this. Like, she didn't answer to anyone. She wasn't concerned with what anyone thought of her. She wanted to live her life. And so me, as this little boy, hearing her talk and looking around and seeing this, that was my dream. I wanted to be free. I've mentioned that before, and to make my own decisions, like Janet Jackson.
I wanna make my own decisions when it's the good of my life.
Just without any input, and so that's really what I wanted. But I also wanted to be loved. I wanted to love someone else. I wanted that intimate, monogamous connection. That was a dream that I did have. And so, but not necessarily the white picket fence situation, the last name, the wedding. I didn't have that then. I've never had that dream for myself. Again, realizing that I wanted the opportunity that if that ever changed, for me to be able to do that. I still believed in the right for all of us to be able to marry whomever we love. So that was always important. But it was always something that I thought of, okay, I want this right for my community, not necessarily for me, if that makes any sense. That's kind of how it's always been for me. But since 2015, I've been asked so many times by folks in the LGBTQ society. I have to say that I do understand that whenever I'm asked this, it's always coming from a place of love, like a place of, hey, we have this right now, we should be taking advantage of this. Or that there are tons of benefits that come along with being married, and so you should take advantage of these benefits just like the rest of the country does. So I totally get that it's coming from a place of good intent. But again, it's never been my thing. And so my response, the way that I answer that whenever I'm asked, are you going to get married? I always come back with like a joke, like, maybe if I meet the right person, or, you don't never want to rush into things, or, just whatever I could say to just get a laugh, because it's easier than kind of going into the whole situation. But hey, I thought I'd just make this video and it would just kind of kill two birds with one stone. I do need to point out though that this isn't just like my situation. Like in the relationship that I'm in now, we're both on the same page to where it isn't important for either one of us. And so thinking about how I have to respond to it kind of makes me feel like when I think about women's rights and how it was kind of like a woman would made to feel like, what's wrong with you because she didn't want to get married? Sometimes I kind of feel that way, where I'm thinking like, wait, we have this right, and you're such a proponent of being able to get married, and now we can, and so why aren't you? You should be doing this. And sometimes it just makes me feel like, why? Like, if I don't want to, if that's not something that we're thinking about, then what is the purpose? Now again, it's going back into, are we doing this for ourselves, or are we doing this to satisfy what other people want? Now, don't get me wrong, I love me a party and I love wearing a tux, and throughout the years I've given many a gift at these weddings, and so this would be kind of payback. So there are those pros as well. But that's not why you get married, or you don't get married just cause you can. I do think about that. I also think about, not that this is why I'm not, but the divorce rate is high, and now that our community is now engaging in marriage, I have seen many of my friends who had been together for decades, and once marriage became a factor, like they divorced, like 2 to 5 years later, like they're all getting divorced now. So that kind of weighs in my brain as far as like, ultimately where I'm at now, the way that I think is, I am so happy with every single aspect of my life. And so why change it? That's not to say that it's never gonna happen. It's just not a necessity. There is no rush, there's no need. I don't know how else to say that, but that's just kind of where I'm at now. And it isn't because of who I'm with or anything like that. It's just, I don't think no one's gonna change that for me. Again, I'm living my dream now, and so why mess with it? I don't know. The other part of that whole white picket fence is something that I do want to kind of confess in this video, is that with the house and the spouse also comes kids. And I have to say this, I do not want kids. I'll get a dog, maybe a cat, maybe even a farm. I'm even open to that. But kids, no. Even though, confession, there is like a 0.001% chance that I might have a child. I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned this story, but I'll mention it now because it kind of goes with the whole theme. But like, back in the day in high school, I remember this, the time during prom and graduation, I was like in party mode. Everyone was having house parties and going out to Six Flags and getting hotel rooms, and all of this crazy situation, lots of fun, lots of alcohol. Yeah, I wasn't partaking in other drugs, but many of my friends were. And so it was that kind of situation. And I was having a good time with multiple people. We'll just say that. Now, when I was in the military, I remember getting this call, and it was this girl saying, hey, I think it was Jennifer. I'm pretty sure that it was. Now, Jennifer in my community is a popular name. Actually, my prom date was Jennifer, even though I'm sure it wasn't her calling me. But it's like, hey, we kind of hung out a lot during this week, and I am pregnant, and or I was pregnant, I gave birth, and the child is yours. And I could hear this kid in the background, and I heard her saying, hey, Mikey Jr., get down from there, whatever it was that she said, but she said Mikey Jr., and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa. Okay, well, we'll need to take a paternity test, or she goes, no. She's like, that's not why I'm calling you. We are okay. We don't want anything from you. I don't want you to be part of our lives. Like, I'm good as far as that goes. I'm only telling you this just in case, if in the future, if your son comes looking for you, you'll understand where this is coming from. And hangs up the phone. Now again, this is back in the day. This is before cell phones, before call ID, or no, there was call ID, but I didn't have it. So there was really no way to kind of like contact her back. And so by now, if I do have a son, he probably has his own son by now, I'm imagining. But I just had to put that out there. Only to say that, okay, Mikey Jr., if you're out there and you want to contact me, I'd be more than happy, because while I don't want kids, I would never push away my kid, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's my little confessional moment that I'm sharing with the entire world. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I stand on stuff. So a like would be great, a subscribe would be even better, but most importantly, comment and let me know if this is something that you're currently struggling with, if you have struggled and then somehow, made your decision, and how you came about that. Whatever you want to tell me, I'd be more than happy to read about it.